The Academy Museum of Motion Pictures opened in 2021 in Los Angeles. It houses more than 13 million objects and is dedicated to the history, science, and cultural impact of the film industry. The museum is located in the historic May Company building at the intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and Fairfax Avenue, part of Museum Row on the Miracle Mile. The building's lobby includes 2 exhibit areas, the Spielberg Family Gallery and the Marilyn and Jeffrey Katzenberg Gallery. But the last thing you want to do is get caught up on the first floor for the film artifacts. And as I mentioned, the Academy Museum of Motion Picture houses more than 13 million objects, and they're all up those stairs. And we get right into the movies through Citizen Kane, Orson Welles' 1941 Academy Award-winning classic. What? Spoiler alert! For a film that's 84 years old, Rosebud was burned in Citizen Kane. So how do they have one in this museum? Well, with movie props, they usually build a few of them just to be safe, and this was the 3rd sled they built, and the only one that survived the fire. One of the best things about the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures is the fact there's signage everywhere explaining what the items, artifacts, and displays are. When they have previously awarded Oscar statues on display, they'll tell you why. There's so many movie-related items in the museum. When I was there, director Spike Lee's, it was his turn to be celebrated. Pictures, props, posters, and more from his movies such as School Days, Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, Malcolm X, and his commercial shoots with Michael Jordan were all on display. And Lee's classic 1989 film, Do the Right Thing, was very well represented as well. Because of their iconic statue, look at this. These are among the most valuable items of film memorabilia. Yes, these pictures from the costume fittings from The Wizard of Oz. Yes, Judy Garden's ruby slippers was the previous picture. And here's some fittings from The Wizard of Oz. And if you love costumes, they have thousands of them, including the bathrobe that Jeff Bridges wore in The Big Lebowski. Yeah, you can stand just a few centimeters away from Hollywood and motion picture history in this place. Some of the displays are static, as they rarely change, but others are only at the museum for a limited time. For instance, when I was there, you could see a display of the works of Spanish filmmaker Pedro Almodovar. And for most of the installations, the filmmakers get personally involved. The animation area housed some of my favorite items. These heads used in Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, for instance. It was amazing to see how they captured all of the emotions with the different heads, replaced them on the body, and did it all during the animation process. And at this desk, legendary Walt Disney animator Frank Thomas sat and illustrated the many classics that he worked on. Such cinematic history. And how's this for history? R2-D2, a costume actually worn in Star Wars. And if you're wondering what Star Wars film, refer to the plaque. The information is right there at this museum. Many don't explain everything. I love that this one does. And what's R2-D2 without C-3PO? And look, it's E.T. And the costume Johnny Depp wore in Edward Scissorhands. If you're a movie fan, the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures is a destination for you. There's so much to see and do for film fans of all ages. And just recently announced, Jaws, the exhibition, the first ever exhibition focused exclusively on a single film and the largest mounted exhibition ever for Jaws. Can't wait to go back to Los Angeles to see this fall. And coming up on a future edition of Traveling with Dan, I'll take you across the street from the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures to the Peterson Automotive Museum, the home of the world's largest collections of automobiles, including one car used to make a movie right here in southern Alberta.
Traveling with Dan.